Good afternoon. Well, I want to thank everyone for giving me this chance to talk about something that's arguably sensational. I'm going to try to include science in it, but this is what I experienced, so I will give it my best here. Bear with me. My name is Russ Chadwell. 1983, I served in the Air Force at the 519th Bombardment Wing in New Hampshire. Later, I transferred to the Army National Guard in Nebraska, my home state. During the Iraq War, I was a medic serving at the Brooke Army Medical Center in Texas. What you're about to hear is hard to accept. It might be explained as imagination or hypnagogia, the mind going to sleep. I won't challenge your disbelief. In fact, I expect it. But please, hold all questions or remarks until the end. When I was 5, I saw my father standing silently before something changing shape, taking form. I had been drawn to the living room where I stumbled upon the scene. My father's face seemed sedate and groggy. He nodded from time to time. The thing faced away from me towards my father when it suddenly appeared fur-covered. I don't remember what happened after that. My life went on, of course. I never forgot that scene, but it didn't consume me. I let it go. My father remained completely unaware of that encounter. Then, when I was 26, I experienced a series of unusual dreams. If I wasn't being stung by a swarm, I was drifting through doorways. I saw a sailing ship, its long keel stuck in the ground, standing over a story tall. When I awoke, there were alien forms nearby, standing in dim blue light. I struggled but couldn't move. Raising a hand, gesturing for me to relax, the beings finally left into the darkness. Later that year, on my way to California, I saw a distant light just above the horizon. This was New Mexico, Highway 40 at night. For a long time, the light traced out a tiny figure 8 over and over again rapidly. When do memories form? Why do memories form? What state of consciousness is required to think? Science has answers for these, but are they solid answers? Why do recovered coma patients sometimes insist they were aware of things and can prove it? I can tell you that during general anesthesia, you must be intubated. A machine must take over your breathing or you will die. For sedation less deep, you are at risk of forming memories, being aware. Your surroundings remain partially within grasp. General anesthesia is considered a coma. Coma is considered beyond awareness. Could memory be at work anyway, when indicators say otherwise? The way I got the following is hard to explain. I felt no epiphany or spark of imagination when it came. I've experienced that sort of spark before. I know epiphanies well. It felt more like I overheard it, but no one spoke to me. I heard no voices. It could be a mistake that I got this information, or it's just imaginary. You might suspect I heard or read about it from Hollywood somehow. Go ahead and feel that way, but hear me out. Others recall details of abductions, parts of abductions anyway. Others claim to have come away with unique insights. Were those insights supposed to have been remembered? I think in these cases, ideas form for other reasons than imagination. You may disagree, that's fine. I believe in the ring of truth, however. Consider the following a hypothesis at the very least. One I can suggest a test for. The recent courage of Ryan Graves has brought me here to describe what I know. We are in a parasitic relationship with an ancient species. These extraterrestrials find themselves at an evolutionary end. Evolution is your friend until you get past 3 million years or so. Space travel and the radioactivity involved has also affected them. There are similar genetics throughout the galaxy due to basic physics. On Earth, for instance, all life shares an underlying genetic code. These beings correct their condition with the genome of others somehow. They prefer bits of natural genes over those that could be engineered, let's say. Apparently, a natural spring is preferable to anything artificially filtered. A pure, uncontaminated source is apparently what they are after. And they obtain that best from advanced pre-spacefaring populations. Once an entire population becomes engrossed in various forms of increased background radiation, they generally move on. With regard to genome parasites, Jill Banfield, UC Berkeley, found microbes here on Earth doing something similar. As she stated October 2022 about her discovery, imagine a strange foreign entity that assimilates and shares important genes. Do we really know how we'd choose to protect against the ravages of time and space? They are older than us, more advanced than us, but we are not like ants to them. Originally, long ago, they did not warp space when traveling. Near light speed travel causes time dilation. Their original home world is no longer the same as a result. The first visits to Earth started some 7 to 8 million years ago. They push our timeline ahead using time dilation as they travel. Whenever they return, we are thousands of years further along, while they have aged very little. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And like magic, they have seen each and every hominid who has ever existed. They track each individual looking for signs of something, possibly individual mutation, a marker of some sort. How do they do this? All I know is that it is simple for them. By overlapping time dilation or space-time warping, something similar, they check our evolutionary state individual by individual constantly. They render a person semi-conscious in order to extract the desired materials. There is no perception or recollection of the encounter, usually. I don't think recollection is supposed to happen. Perhaps they don't use a strong anesthesia requiring intubation. They are in a constant search for new homeworlds as well. As we are Earth's last hominid, they expect we will go extinct like all the others. They'd prefer we not destroy the Earth or pollute it with radiation along the way. They stand to inherit the Earth if conditions permit. To appreciate what's involved here, I invite you to consider the following. Open knowledge of them may negatively alter our evolutionary pressure. It's the greyhound mustn't catch the electric rabbit premise. Once the greyhound catches the rabbit, he loses interest in the race. He can't unlearn. It permanently changes his motivations. Historically, it risks a kind of dementia for us. For early peoples, beliefs would have been challenged and changed. For the period before science, wars could have broken out. Open knowledge of them also risks turning into fear and suspicion. Thus, they have preferred to remain completely unknown. But mistakes have happened, crashes and other unwanted evidence has occurred. So it's they who demand governments deny and cover up evidence. It's not future shock governments are really concerned with. They keep governments in line using demonstrations of their capacity, or by deal-making. Governments will not admit to anything. Our government is, in a sense, under their control. They distort clear visibility of themselves, or change their appearance. They complicate perceptions when possible, move inexplicably where possible, all in an effort to degrade credible accounts of them. Once they created space-time warping for themselves, they could influence a surprising range of objects through artificial gravity. On this side of the Kuiper Belt, there are several fairly large, icy, rocky planetoids. One plan calls for slowly pulling them together over time. Something very odd happens once they begin to interact. The idea seems hazardous to me. It's wildly complex, seems implausible, but it's fun to watch. I think I know the bodies involved, but I'm not sure. It's possibly Pluto, Charon, Makemake, Haumea, and their satellites. Apparently, any abrupt course corrections required would be handled by the artificial gravity created through space-time warping. Protecting fragile bodies like Pluto during extreme maneuvers would apparently be achieved using partial warp bubbles. Where the inclined plane of Pluto's orbit meets the rest of the solar system, the interactions of these bodies becomes very wild. Several of the objects get cast deeper into the Kuiper Belt, while Pluto gets kicked backwards slightly, now on the same plane as the rest of the planets, but falling against the flow of the solar system. Pluto ultimately falls against the orbit of Jupiter twice, slowing each time. Nearly orbiting Jupiter on its final pass, Pluto turns about yet again, this time falling towards Venus, ending up chasing Venus from behind. Pluto ultimately collides with Venus rather catastrophically, ultimately providing a moon, an ocean, and other planetary dynamics needed for the newly formed world, Venuscopia. Time dilation would then be used to speed up Venuscopia's development. We would benefit directly from such time dilation if things were different. Many advancements are possible if we weren't trapped inside their secret scheme. We should decide if we want to rescind this current relationship, transcend it, becoming more equal with them. If we take a stand, maybe they'd see us differently. This would involve preventing the semi-unconscious state they inflict. Understanding how states of perception are controlled is key. Slowing the link between the thalamus and frontal cortex is how general anesthesia works. Though this can be achieved electrochemically, it might be achieved other ways too. The cornerstone of general anesthesia is that it is a reversible coma. The reversing method might be used to prevent the states of unconsciousness involved here. For safety, only medical professionals should attempt to find a specific process, though. This could be done using traditional chemicals or by finding other means. Once we have clarity on demand for all occasions, the control by sedation stops. Once the so-called tranquilizer gun no longer works for them, things should change. They can look elsewhere for their needs. It's no harm to them. We either get a respectful relationship finally, or they leave, or perhaps our efforts don't work at all, but we should try. One way to determine if any of this is necessary is by carefully looking inside ourselves. Science needs to find ways to unlock suppressed memories made during unconsciousness. That's really what I'm after. That and the expanded coma reversing method. For instance, discover how some intubated coma patients know things that they shouldn't. Experiments could start by using general anesthesia, stimulus testing followed by hypnosis, exploring and unlocking hidden memories. Methods beyond hypnosis could be used too. Something akin to Neuralink, possibly? Functional MRIs and AI algorithms. Other things not yet considered. A person dreams all night long but remembers almost nothing the next day. A memory extraction process would be deemed successful if it could change that. Improved unconscious memory recall methods must be sought and discovered. Discovered by peer-reviewed science and nothing less. Once a means allowing suppressed memories to surface is created, we can finally see and know the beings we are dealing with. If we've all been secretly visited, extracting suppressed memories is the first step. If we each find memory of our own personal alien experience, then we must face it. Fear of those things suppressed might deter some from taking the journey. As more choose to face it, though, the journey becomes less and less worrisome. We could find strength together. Once we know the truth, defining our relationship begins. Whether that's stopping the parasitic arrangement or openly accepting them as symbionts. I am open for questions. Thank you.